Imagine you're on a journey for that elusive, perfect home grinder. And then a guy like me comes on YouTube to tell you that it doesn't exist. I want to talk to you all about a home grinder that I found. But before we jump into it, please like and subscribe to this YouTube page. And you can also comment in the section below and let us know about things that you want to hear us discuss, or if you have any questions, just pop them down below. All right, let's jump into this. This is from Ceado. This is their home grinder that they call the Life. And like many home grinders, they also boast that this can do both espresso and pour over. Now, I've found that some grinders struggle with that, but this grinder really does focus on switching back and forth from espresso to pour over to French press to your home brewer. So we have 50 millimeter flat burrs. And what's cool about these burrs, they screw in from the bottom instead of the top. So you don't have that screw where the teeth are. And you won't have any cake up of oils and coffee grounds along that, which can later on, if you don't clean your grinder out like I do, or I don't, then you can end up clogging your grinder, and then you have to take it apart and of course clean it. But with this grinder and their 50 millimeter burrs and that specific teeth set, and having those screws on the backside, you get a nice flow of coffee going through. So when you get to the espresso grind setting, you get really nice, consistent grind particle sizes and very fluffy. Now, when you go to the coarser settings, those burrs are coming further apart, and the motor on this thing goes pretty fast. So you're creating a lot of static. So the coarser you go, the more static and the more coffee grounds are going to fly out. My solution is to just spritz your beans with just a little bit of water, and that can, like, settle down that kind of static that flies everywhere with all the coffee. So that's one con about this grinder. But let's jump into some of the things that I really love. The programming is super easy. All you have to do is just jump into these settings. You push one button to get into programming, and then you can set your time that you want to grind for either 1 cup or a single cup or double cup. So it's very simple. You can also just jump right into manual. You can have pulsing, or you can just have continuous grind and you just start and stop. That's pretty cool. Getting in and out of that programming is fairly simple. Also, what I really like about this grinder, moving those burrs, those flat burrs further apart and closer, you have this stepless grind control knob on the side. It goes from 0 to 9, and what I love about this, you get this beautiful diagram of the grind setting. So around 0 to 2 will be your espresso range, and then in the 2 to, I say, 3.5, maybe AeroPress, and then you have a really big range between that 3.5 to about 7 for pour over. So your Calidas, your V60s, your Origamis, your Oreas, even your Chemex will fit in that range somewhere. And then all of you all that love your French press, you have that 8 to 8.5 for French press. I try not to go past 8.5. I don't like it too coarse. I want a little bold cup for my French press. And then around that 9 mark, if you're really into cold brew, that's a perfect setting for your cold brew. So you can have your hopper for your espresso, and it's really easy to switch these in and out. And you have a back screw here that can lock it down if you want. But if you're like me, you're jumping back and forth from espresso to pour over, then you have this beautiful collar that you can drop on the back. And again, you can lock this down. And then once you drop your beans in, you have your bellow that you drop in, push the beans through, and then you can push your grinds through as well, as you can see. It comes with this beautiful cup. Also, you have a fork here and an adjusting screw that you can lock your portafilter in and grind right into the portafilter. And on that fine setting, you really get this beautiful, fluffy, consistent grind particle size that falls directly in the center of the basket. Very similar to Ceado's commercial espresso grinders. I love that fluffiness, so you don't have to distribute too much. You can just kind of go right for the tamp if you're into that. You can pull up your fork and you can grind right into your cup for your pour over or your French press. So those are the things I love about this grinder. And one feature that a lot of people don't talk about is the underside. You have this one big rubber piece instead of separate feet. If you're like me, I always lose the feet of my grinder and my espresso machines. I love how this is just one piece connected with screws. Really easy, and it sits flush on the table. The size of this grinder is beautiful, especially for the home. It just fits right there underneath the counter along with your espresso machine. And if you're anything like me, I have like a grinder for pour over, a grinder for espresso, and then I have a grinder for my coffee brewer. And then I also have all these hand grinders. So looking for that unicorn grinder that does it all. Yes, that perfect grinder does not exist, but this gets me pretty close to that perfect elusive grinder, the Ceado Life. So I hope you try it out. If you have any questions, please drop it in the section. And I gotta give a huge shout out to GH Grinding and Brewer Solutions for supplying this grinder for us. They have been wonderful in supplying Black and White with a lot of grinders. And if you need anything as far as grinding and brewing, they have the excellent solution to pair with whatever you're looking for with what they have. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Peace. 2 times.